Please welcome all the way from Detroit, Lynn Mills.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Do I have to hold this or can I put it down?
Put it down.
Okay. Well, I've been pro-life my whole life, and you might say, how can that be? I was born in 1954, but in 1953, my mother went to a doctor to get an abortion. And her best friend took her, and thank God abortion was illegal, because the only thing that saved me was she was afraid she was going to die in a criminal abortion. And that doctor said, why don't you just go home, tell the young man, and get married. And my whole life, my mother has made a pro-life activist. I was told my whole life, you ruined my life by being born, you ruined my life by existing. I should have flushed you down the toilet when I had the chance. Yes, it was real abuse. I don't mean to start off on a negative point, but my mother, God took that and he made a pro-life activist. Now, all of you may not be as driven as I am, but that's what she did. God took what my mother did, and I am driven. I am out there at Planned Parenthood 3 days a week. Planned Parenthood had the nerve to open a healthcare facility 4 miles from my home this past November, and I went, no, not in my neighborhood. They closed in April, and we went, oh good. Planned Parenthood had been closing places all over the state of Michigan. Now that's not where it starts with me. I started and I'm sorry if I'm going to jump around, but that's what you get with me. You get stories, you get pockets, you get this and that. And I can even talk about what I've been doing the last 2 days in Detroit. The Democrat convention was there. Guess what we did? We educated a whole lot of people. People came in. Who remembers Randall Terry? Yeah. Well, he has a whole new family and a whole new boy band called the Terry Train. And just part of what we did is once the police cleared the path, some of his sons, they wrote a song called CNN Sucks. Yep. And CNN was broadcasting live, and Created Equal was there, and there was another pro-life group with the locals down at the other end. There was 2 blocks that were quadrant off, and we all marched down, and Created Equal had their signs. I had my flexible sign, maybe you have one of them, and I'm popping in and out, and we had 3 different communist groups, and the cops are keeping us all apart. And it was, can I say fun? Like what Joe Scheidler would say, you got to have some fun. So I have to tell you, there were at least 10 amongst the unknowing communist, New Green Deal, socialist people, and they all happened to be African Americans. Their mouths dropped when they saw victim imagery. And so there were 10 people on Tuesday night that saw victim imagery, and they were like, anyway, back to the story. So we're marching down, the boy band's playing, Created Equal had the big signs, not like yours, but they had different signs, and CNN is playing, they're broadcasting live, and Randall Terry's going, CNN sucks, and we're all seeing it, and they turn around and they look at us slowly. One of the commentators even starts going like, he starts beating his head. This is all happening live. Now, how many of us watch CNN? I don't, my husband wasn't, but you could tell it was happening live. Anyway, that's part of what we do. It's part of what activism is. I'm telling you, it was one of those moments that was kind of glorious, and it was a lot of fun. We spent 2 days in Detroit doing this, and if you get a chance to go to any of these conventions, somebody's here, Father said Milwaukee, and then maybe Charlotte, North Carolina. I don't know where y'all from, put on my southern drawl. A couple of years ago, we were at the Cleveland convention. Is that where the Republicans were?
Yes.
We were only there in the days ahead of time just to protest beforehand, because getting there, it was just a hot mess. So it's always a lot of fun. And these were just the debates, and they didn't let anybody near. So that's some of the things you can do. But I got involved in 1972. Michigan is one of the states where if Roe versus Wade is overturned today, we have a law on the books since 1931. We will be a battleground state. We don't need a heartbeat bill. We don't need any kind of those bills, because we have the laws on the books. In 1972, they tried to make us in New York. They tried to make us a Colorado. They tried to make us a Hawaii. And we went and voted to keep abortion criminal in the state of Michigan. I was just turned 18. I went, I voted, and it was overwhelmingly voted down. We kept abortion criminal in Michigan. A few months later, the women talk about it's a woman's right to, it's her body. You don't have organs. You shouldn't be allowed. Oh, but what about those 7 white men in robes in 1973? They keep forgetting about those men who changed the law in 1973. Those 7 white men, they were okay to dictate what you could do with your body. But today, white men aren't allowed to say anything about, So anyway, you're you're distracting me.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I can't. So, in 1980, I went to Planned Parenthood. Now, you're thinking, wait, you said you're pro-life your whole life. Well, I was. I was going into Ann Arbor to get tickets for a football game, the Ohio-Michigan game. And I thought, well, I think I'm pregnant. I'm going to stop by Planned Parenthood. I'm going to get a pregnancy test done. And I went in there and I gave them $10, and they said, you're pregnant. And I go, I'm pregnant. And they said, when do you want your termination? I went, wait a minute. Do you not see the smile on my face? I was one of those women who thought, you're going to help me plan my pregnancy. Didn't think you're going to help me plan an abortion. You're Planned Parenthood. She goes, yeah, I see your smile. When do you want your termination? And I look around again, and it's like I see 4 couples, and I'm going, what the heck? Where am I? My mind was blown away. And I got up, and I walked out, and I went, holy smokes. Never, ever forgot that moment. And I was still very young mother, young wife, and I just couldn't wait to get home and go to my husband. And it still didn't kick in. Like a year and a half later, there was a big case in Kalamazoo. They wanted to kill a baby in the 8th month, and it's like, okay, gotta go in full force. And that's when I became an activist. I went, nope. Somebody said, contact your local Right to Life office in Livonia. And I went, there's a Right to Life office. Went to work for them for a little while, and it was doing the voter survey. Now, I know we need to do voter survey back then. By the way, how many people have primaries coming up? No primaries here? Okay. We have a primary coming up in Livonia. Well, and it's important to us because the city council and the mayor did nothing with our Planned Parenthood that just opened up. And even though we have a pro-life city council and they pretty much did nothing to keep our Planned Parenthood from coming in, we're really concerned that if we let a pro-abortion city council in and a pro-abortion mayor in, they're going to embrace Planned Parenthood. They're going to give them the key to the city, and Chamber of Commerce is going to love on them. So we're going to be working to keep our, local politics matters. Look at AOC. She snuck in a primary. So anyway, I got really bored with doing the voter survey. Really bored. And then I took, back when we had phone books, and I went, oh my gosh, look at all the abortion mills here. And all the people I met doing the voter survey, I said, hey, let's go picket an abortion clinic. Hadn't met Joe Schuyler yet. We all made signs and we picketed an abortion mill. So I guess you could say my claim to fame is I was the first person in Michigan to picket an abortion mill, and I haven't gone back yet. It's like, that's where my heart is. That's where you can reach the women. That's where women see you. They drive by, and but you need it all. I'm not saying one activity is better than the other activity. You need the legislature. You need the pregnancy resource centers. You need people willing to chauffeur speakers. Thank you very much for driving me and picking me up at the airport. You need every part of the pro-life movement. And then when you drive yourself off in a blizzard to protest the Clintons coming in, and you've got your friends from Oregon saying, what are you going to do about Jack Kevorkian, Lynn? And I'm going, why am I going to do anything about Jack Kevorkian? I said, well, if you don't do something about him, we're going to come to town. And I'm forced to face Jack Kevorkian in Detroit, who was offing people left and right. We had a bunch of people come to Detroit. We sat down in a restaurant, and I promised Jack I won't divert too long, but it's an important part because it goes from one spectrum to the other. Jack Kevorkian was killing people. How many of you all know about Jack Kevorkian? Just everybody.
Dr. Jeff?
Yep. Well, he was in my backyard, and he was just dropping people off at the hospital in his rusty van, getting away with it. And we met, we decided where we were all going to go. Somebody was going to watch his lawyer's house, somebody was going to watch his house, and I was the one who was going to go talk to the woman who lived right next door to his drug supplier's house. I saw the drug supplier walk out with 2 bags of garbage, put them down, and I went, oh my gosh, look at that, garbage. It's not the first time I had picked up garbage, wasn't the last time I picked up garbage. It had snowed that day. I saw the tire tracks leave. I picked up the garbage. In there was what Jack called his Obadiah tree report. In there, Jack described the death of Hugh Gale. This death is talked about and shown in more graphic detail in the movie You Don't Know Jack. If any of you haven't seen the movie, and I bet most of you haven't, You Don't Know Jack. It was an HBO movie. It won the Emmy for Best Movie. I play a credited role in the movie. I recommend you seeing it. It's got a fabulous ending. The prosecutor got a search warrant, knocked down the door to Jack Kevorkian's house, and got the actual document. And Jack Kevorkian was arrested on that evidence just because I took the garbage that was left on the curb and handed it over to the prosecutor. I'm asking, thank you. I'm asking you guys to be bold, to go outside your comfort zone. Now, since David DeLinen has taken and gone with the baby body parts, I don't know how often we can, or if there are any babies available for burial. And I'm not saying I want them to be. We know babies are aborted every day. Has anybody gone for garbage any place ever? Has anybody looked?
Yeah, we had a tip years ago and there was no babies there. But we tried to find, it's very awkward then because, you know, like I'm saying, we want to plan to bury the babies. Well, the babies might not even be created yet. And then you get your hands full trying to save them. And then you don't want them to be buried. You know, so
Yeah, I understand that. And I think they're being extremely careful now. We'd rather save them than bury them. I understand that.
Isn't it all being picked up as medical waste now by those companies?
If they're smart, they are, but
I think some of them still are just.
Oh, yeah.
well, we had, one of the things I did a few years ago was, and it's to all glory, God. There was an abortionist, Michael Arthur Roth, and I'm so blown away that showing up and picketing him, he was chased out of 3 to 4 abortion mills within 6 months. This is a man, an abortionist, who was in a place for 22 to 24 years. But right next to him was a plastic surgery facility. And when we showed up after an absence of a long time, what they thought was we were picketing the plastic surgery center. And so the cops came, it was all this fuss going on, and when they realized we were picketing the abortionist, they said, it's him or we're going. He got evicted. He went a mile down the road, and foolish, one of the medical board members on the state licensing committee let him go in there. He had an urgent care that opened at 5 o'clock. The deal was you can be in there between 8 and 4:30. When I found that out, it's like, whoa, we're picketing this place too. And the place, it was this elite medical building, and they said, you have him in there under false pretenses. They had to sue to get him out. And it's like, we may not or may agree with you. We're not going to tell you, Lynn, but what we can tell you is he's here under false pretenses. We're evicting him. And it's like, whoa. He found another place. And I called up, I said, Lori Shoha, my old OBGYN, guess what? I said, can I come there for an abortion? She goes, what are you talking about? I said, you have an abortionist subletting. What? No, he gets half of his stuff moved in day before Thanksgiving. So I tell my husband, I said, I'm going shopping with our daughter. Can you ride your motorcycle up there? Everything's gone the day after Thanksgiving. It's like, oh, this is so sweet. He's gone. Doesn't reopen until 6 weeks later. I even send somebody in to the new location begging for an abortion. No, I'm not, no abortions. 6 months later, he has an accident in one of those roundabout things, I notice you've got them here too. Did you hear about our trunk abortionist caught with 15 aborted babies in his trunk? So he resorted to doing off-site abortions somewhere. 15 aborted babies in his trunk. I'm telling you, little old me, it doesn't take a lot, it takes persistence. He lost his license. This was easy for the state of Michigan to do. And let me tell you, the state of Michigan loves abortions. They love aborting poor people. They love aborting blacks, Hispanics, poor whites. Because no matter what we do, we find the worst abortionist. They botch 5 second trimester abortions. They kill a woman. And guess what? He's been suspended 3 times. Guess who's still practicing abortion? Reginald Sharp still has his license. That's all he got. He had a $15,000 fine. He writes a check for $1,500. Now, his brother's an attorney. They went, oh, well, that's just a typo. He did pay the $15,000, but he thought he was being really cute. How do you get, you know what? They love abortion so much that they're going to overlook that. Oh, here's a real funny story. Our second trimester abortionist, Reggie Sharp, his son is on the traveling World Series. I get a call from my friend Genevieve, Right to Life of Michigan. She goes, who's Reginald Sharp? I said, well, he's our second trimester abortionist. Why? Well, I just got a call from Indianapolis Right to Life, and there's some there's some abortionist down in Indianapolis, and he's stealing signs from the Little League World Series. Now, doesn't it make sense that an abortionist, a second trimester Michigan abortionist, is down in Indianapolis stealing signs for his son, boom, so he can hit home runs? They're scum all day long. They'll steal anything, they'll kill anything, they'll not follow the rules, they'll write 1,500 when it should be 15,000, and they'll do anything to be winners. So, what I did was I found everybody on their special Facebook page, and I sent all of the kids' parents, not the kids, the parents, I sent his state of Michigan licensing, his suspension, exactly what he did, his medical malpractice. He got kicked off the team. I mean, not in time while he was on the Little League World Series, but he's no longer part of the Grosse Pointe World Series. So it's going to be interesting to see where he is this summer, because being on the Little League World Series is a big thing. Who's a baseball fan here? Does anybody understand? I didn't understand exactly how big the Little League World Series is, but that's a big deal.
They have Secret Service protection now.
Do they?
Because of 9/11, yeah.
Really?
People all over the world, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, and it was, all this was going on as my daughter was getting ready to get married. So it's like in the middle of August, so I'll be paying attention. But you can't trust an abortionist for anything, anywhere, anytime. And, so you've got to, if you got a computer, you know what your abortion is, get on there and just dig, and then just don't go on the first page, dig some more. And we don't even leave their, well, wait, you're going to put this on the internet, right? Oh, there's only so many secrets I'm going to give away. You can talk to me later. But let me just say, look at the death scores too. Get there. So how many people go out to the abortion mills on a regular basis? How many people see death scores on a regular basis? Do you know their names? Well, do some research. We had, when Planned Parenthood opened up, They didn't have death escorts after us. The Planned Parenthood we go to in Livonia, they were in the process of revamping a crappy old building. Now it's a crappy new building. Every tradesman that came in there, Facebook Live, broadcasted their number. We had people calling. We didn't leave them alone. And then people would go, I know that person. And they said, that's a Catholic businessman. That's a Catholic Holy Rosary family. That's a homeschooling family. Well, that was a lot of fun.
They were escorts?
No, this is the tradesmen working on the building. And they even called for a private meeting with me and tried to say, you don't understand. I said, what don't I understand? Your husband is married to you. You're part of the Holy Rosary homeschooling family. And, well, my kids are sick. I need my husband, blah, blah, blah. It's like, be a superhero. You have this is your husband. I'm not telling you to leave him, but
Killing me. Help me kill me.
you, and he's with the Kalamazoo, the Livonia, the Flint. How is this my problem, what your husband does? Your husband is the problem for you. And the most I can do right now is say, okay, I'm not calling out Holy Rosary homeschool family anymore. You say you quit the Holy Rosary group, I'll take you at your word. But every time the Allied truck shows up at Planned Parenthood, I'm taking a picture and I'm blasting it and I'm saying call. We were successful in getting the sign company not to put up Planned Parenthood, the sign. He said he was going to take the money he got from Planned Parenthood and donate it to a crisis pregnancy center. And I'm going, no, 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 no. And I called the crisis pregnancy center and I said, you cannot accept that money at all. And if I got wind that they did, they were going to have problems from me too. I'm not going to give their name out. And I said, there's just no way you can take their money. And so Planned Parenthood, our CEO is Lori Carpentier. She's been my neighbor a quarter mile from me for years, and then 3/4 of a mile. And it's not been fun for her. I pretty much don't care. They can't understand why we're still there. Planned Parenthood is supposed to have a 2-year plan where if they don't turn a profit, they're gone. We have 3 days a week, and we have on average anywhere between 10 to 20 people that show up every time we're out there. Sometimes it's 5. I'm giving you an average. On Saturday, it's community outreach. I am stunned that we get that many people. I think because they changed locations in Livonia. We are a family-friendly community. It says it on our sign. Welcome to Livonia, families first. And we're not having it. We are very upset. We stand out there. I like your honk for life sign. We get probably 75% honks in favor of us. And I just may have to go home and have some signs like that made. We have death escorts. Our Planned Parenthood doesn't do abortions, but it doesn't matter. They're still Planned Parenthood. Over the last 5 to 6 years, we had 3 Planned Parenthoods in the state of Michigan that did surgical abortions. We now have 9 Planned Parenthoods that do abortions. They turned into pill mills. So 3 surgical, 6 pill mills. We're here, and we're not going to let them get away with it. We're going to keep going. I mean, And if it wasn't for Right to Life of Michigan, that had they had an omnibus bill that went through, and up until 2012, none of the abortion mills in Michigan had to be licensed. So we are extremely grateful that Right to Life can partner with us, and we can work together and license these abortion mills. I investigate, I write allegations against these places. Right now I'm trying to track down, I partner with the sidewalk counselors. There was a death in East Point on June 7th. I just sent the FOIA. Does anybody ever send off for FOIAs? Freedom of Information?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I try to do that and people say, no, you gotta be a real lawyer.
Oh, no.
I know, but it's just like, yeah, you're supposed to be able to get it. And then people who have staff, I say, do it for you. And they're like, what? You know, they have the staff, they have the office, and they say they need to get the lawyer to do it, and it's too expensive.
Just a form,
Yeah,
Just a form, Robert, just submit.
one page.
okay.
It's just under FOIA, it depends on what city, you know, I can give you my card,
Okay.
and then, you know, we can talk about it. And which municipality are you looking at?
I can look at any of them, you know.
Okay,
Usually you have to do a Public Information Act is one of the local ones, the FOIA is a federal.
no, freedom of information, no. It's like with Livonia, I mean, we even came up with, we fine-tuned it, even going after the city attorney, asking specifically for all communication between the city attorney and Lori Lamourad, Lori Carpentier. All communication between Planned Parenthood and the city attorney. Specifically, it's not federal, it's just freedom of information.
In Maryland, it's the Public Information Act, that's what the state creates their own law. It's the same thing, but it's called a Public Information Act in Maryland.
Now that you mention it, the one thing you do with the feds, and this could be with any bureaucrat, you can actually see all their emails and what's ever on their computer. So like if they're a federal employee at Health and Human Services or something like that, and they're gambling on the federal computer, it's a big problem, you know, so.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we've gotten some, like the head of Michigan Planned Parenthood said, we're looking at Lynn Mills and we're trying to go after her sweet spot. It's like, really? Because she wanted to come after me to shut me down. And all we do is stand out there trying to hand out information saying Planned Parenthood lies to you. And it's like, no, you know. And here's the other thing. Every time we were out there, they're calling the police on us. It's like, so we reversed it on them. Do you all have Facebook? Do you do Facebook Live? You know, I'm going to be doing Facebook Live again when we're out there at the next Truth Tour a little bit. And we got the 911 calls with her line. I had one of your images, the poor choice baby head. Hi, this is Jennifer Walls, and I'm calling from Planned Parenthood. And they have a dead fetus on their sign. And it's really gross and disturbing. And they have body fluid showing. And I think it's illegal for them to be doing that. Can you come out here and make them stop? And all of a sudden, here are two police officers, and we're going back and forth for 20 minutes. And it was me and Rosalie, and this big sign, as big as yours, and it's like, we stood our ground, and that was like one of the last days. So we took that 911 call, and we had other pictures of Jennifer when she called during the construction of the building, the reconstruction of the building, and she's on her phone and she's pointing like that. So we superimposed her voice and her pictures pointing, and we made it seem like she's pointing at the Baby Choice head sign. We blasted her. We said, call, and we put up their phone number, and we said, call Livonia Planned Parenthood, used her number, and said, tell them to stop wasting Livonia police resources. Because we would stake the signs in the ground. They're calling the cops on us. It's like, really, people? When are you going to stop? We're 30 squad cars short, and you're calling because we're planting a sign in the ground. No, you have to stop, and you've got to be bold. Now, I'd be maybe a little less bold in Westland, one city south, because, as I was telling Craig, I think, again, we're being recorded, I want to be a little more careful. I'm going to say, I think some abortion mills offer free abortions for some police departments, some city fathers, in exchange for favors. So, and I don't think certain cities are the only ones that do that. I'm pretty sure Livonia doesn't do that at all, because we've gotten them to back off because we were bold, and I think Livonia is a respectable city. And we want to keep them respectable with the primary coming up. It's really important when people tell you local politics, entry level, doesn't matter. Yes, city council and the mayors do matter. So, and the very first place, I'm going to tell you one more quick story, and then I'm going to open it up for questions. When I became an activist in 1980-81, Livonia is dear to my heart, and it was like from 81 to 2012, 2013. You kind of take possession, ownership of a certain abortion mill, and I would be there and be there and be there. And 1 year, Reginald Sharp, the World Series liar, second trimester botcher, killer of women. It was probably 2007. He called in a fake ticket on me and had to go out and get a $5,000 lawyer. Thank God for Thomas More Society out of Chicago. They defended me. And even that attorney said, oh, Lynn, she sounds really credible. Are you sure you didn't trespass? It's like, no, I didn't trespass. But, so, he's such a liar. He had his child on Good Friday in the back of his car while they're killing children. And because I had already been attempted to be ticketed once, I'm sitting in the car between the hours of 12 and noon. Noon and 3, thank you. And I'm just praying, and one of his workers comes up to me, and you could tell she's getting information from him. He's feeding her. He's telling her what to say. And she's going, you can't be here. This is private property. And it's like, I'm sitting in my car on the street, and I'm like, what are you talking about? You gotta leave, you gotta leave. Well, you know what? His kid, the future World Series Little League person, was in the back of the car. I didn't realize that until I got home, because I had my camera aimed at his car. Fast forward just a little bit, when I got home and I was looking at the video, I saw the outline of little Reggie's head. Well, I knew there had been a bloody divorce, and I called his wife. I said, where's little Reggie today? Who is this? I said, doesn't matter who this is. Where was little Reggie today? She's not answering me. I said, well, would you be happy if little Reggie was sitting in the back of a hot car while your ex-husband was inside aborting children at the clinic. What? What? Click. And just imagine things exploded a little bit. So if you can't always be out there, you can do other things. Know where the bodies are buried, even if the bodies are still living. So there are things you can do. Anyway, so fast forward, that divorce was very expensive, very expensive. And he didn't pay his taxes for years, had, like I said, 4 or 5 lawsuits, woman died. The place burnt down once, still, all the records just were burnt. He was still able to keep it open. It's like Michigan loves abortion. They didn't close him down. So the signs, finally, the bank takes the building back. My girlfriend says, Lynn, the signs are gone. I rush over there after Mass, and it's like, oh my gosh, I just dropped to my knees. It's closed. He's a contract worker for someplace else. I'm on my knees, but you've got the peripheral vision, and I see the man pulling out of the house next door. We knew he was pro-life. I'm on the sidewalk. He pulls in front of me. This is the next door neighbor. And I'm just weeping, and he thought I had been mugged. He pulls in, he says, are you okay? And I'm going, this is joy, this is all joy. And he goes, what's with this place? I said, he's gone bankrupt. He goes, I don't understand. I said, it's done, it's over, this place is closed. He goes, you're kidding me. I said, yes, it's done. He goes, I want to own the place. I said, what? He goes, I'm tired of this place. I want to own it. I said, I know the bank who owns it. He goes, what? I gave him the name. Within 4 days, he owned it. He bought it from the bank. Within a few days, he had a sign up, clinic for lease, no abortion clinic, need rent it. It was beautiful. So I know I've gone on, I've jumped all over the place. I didn't mean to not be consistent. I have all these notes. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bounce all over the place. Whatever. Yes.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, are you open for questions?
Yes, I thought you had your hand up.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry to hear you had a hard childhood, but I had 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see Mark Harrington being handcuffed at the Democratic debates? And also, have you seen the movie Unplanned? And if so, what do you think of it?
I only saw Mark getting handcuffed in a video.
Oh, okay.
It was not in front of the Fox. Nobody could get in front. He was handcuffed at the other end. I saw him, then I think he was down, I think he had to walk all the way around with his people. There were 2 blocks of sacredness in front of the Fox. I cried through most of Unplanned. It started at the beginning. And Abby did well. Oh.
You worked with Steve Kondreski?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Saw
He
him.
was with us at Trees for Life for some years.
Okay. Yeah. I saw him downtown 2 days in a row.
He's been different times.
Yeah. We had a good time downtown. It's good time. Yes.
Is Michigan a liberal state?
Yeah, we just elected 3 ladies.
He's coming on.
Well, we have Debbie, well, both of our senators are liberals. We have John James, who's going to challenge, he challenged Debbie, didn't win, but now he's going to challenge Gary Peters. We had a so-so governor, and we have a very liberal governor, and we have a liberal attorney general, and we have a liberal secretary of state. In fact, our attorney general was the one was the attorney who took the case to the Supreme Court for gay marriage, so-called gay marriage. Yes, Dana Nessel, if that,
Lesbian, right?
yes, yep,
I mean, oh,
yes. Yeah, she's, yeah.